Hello, America. My name is Anthony. I'm a successful entrepreneur, and I want to start a new series of videos where I put your hustles, side hustles, and everyday jobs to the test. I want to see what actually makes money, what has good opportunity, and what's a complete waste of your time. Let's first talk about becoming a Lyft driver, signing up. The sign up process is um, a little complicated. You have to go through a background verification. You have to have an LLC. Fortunately, I own many companies. I was able to use one of my LLCs in order to become a driver here in the state of Nevada. Had I not already owned an LLC, I would have had to have spent hundreds of dollars opening up an LLC, and that would have taken time to do. Once I got accepted and I started the process, I couldn't use one of my luxury cars to do Lyft in. It would have been a dead giveaway that I didn't need the money, and it would have seemed a little ridiculous. Therefore, I recently purchased a Ford F-150 and decided to use that truck as my Lyft vehicle. That being said, we understand that the cost of gas is going to be a little higher than the average Lyft driver, and most people are not driving a truck, but it's not as bad as most of you would have expected. I did fill up the car early in the morning prior to starting Lyft, and once the car was filled, I went ahead and pressed the start driving button on the vehicle, and I was going to Lyft until the gas tank was empty. My evaluation was going to be how much could I make with one tank of gas and 1 day worth of work, and how much time would it take me in order to do that. I started at about probably 11 a.m. And my first ride was a local ride from where I lived to a local restaurant. That was a $4.50 ride. I think that it probably cost me about $7 in gas. That wasn't really here nor there. It's experience. It's my first ride. No big deal. As I went on with the day, I did ride after ride after ride. I ended up doing about 15 rides for the entire shift. Some of the rides would request a driver and require me to drive 25 minutes out of the area that I was currently in which you're not paid for that drive to go to pick up your passenger. And then that passenger would drive 30 minutes away, and you've now spent 1 hour driving your passenger around, and the net pay is something like $15, $15 on those very long rides, which is completely unacceptable. I do not know how anyone makes money doing Lyft. And there are those of you who are going to say, yes, I'm driving a smart car and I can make it work, and you're pushing every penny out of every gallon of gas that you have, and your time might not be as valuable as my time is to me. But unfortunately, I just don't see how the use of your vehicle, the miles you're putting on your car, the cost of gas, and your time is worth $15 for driving somebody around for an hour and a half if Lyft is turning around and charging that client $40 for that same ride. I had a client that came in at 10:30 at night, which was going to be my last ride of the night, and I was already up where my home was, and I went to pick up this client, and it was an 11-minute drive to the client. Picked up the client, and from that point, the client was going down to the Las Vegas Strip on a Saturday night. It took me 32 minutes to get the customer to its destination. That's with bumper-to-bumper traffic on the Strip. But once I got in the hotel and I went to leave the hotel and the client was already dropped off, it took me another 30 minutes to exit the hotel. The underground service lot or valet lot where the client was dropped off was absolutely packed with taxis, limo drivers, Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, and it was near impossible to get out of the garage. By the time I got home, it was 12:30 at night. I had picked up that client at 10:30 at night. I got $12.32 for that 2-hour turnaround. Lyft charged that client $56 for that ride. So it seems like the problem is not can the equation work or can it be a viable source of income? It can. The problem is that Lyft and Uber are just way too greedy. And it's their American greed that really makes it so that nobody can have a viable income from doing this. There is no way that somebody driving the car that I drive could make any money doing it. And I understand that. I wasn't doing this for the money. I was doing it to test out if this was a good revenue source, and I wanted to see the business model firsthand. I wanted to see what it was like to be a driver firsthand. And I got to do that, and I got to see that there's absolutely no way that anyone can make any real money doing this. I do want to say that my 15 rides, I worked for 7 hours on the app, brought in $145.02. Out of that $145.02, $15 of that was tips. That means that $130 was net. Now, I do want to say that Lyft had a promotion yesterday where if you did 15 rides, you got a $75 bonus. Therefore, I did get that $75 bonus, but that bonus cannot be counted on. That's once in a while. It's by email only, and you have to be invited to a bonus like that, and that's not what it's like to work every day doing Lyft and Uber. Those bonuses are not always there. They're fun to have, and yes, it definitely helped out because it cost $71 for me to fill my tank at the end of the night back to full. But had I not had that bonus, I would have made base without tips $130 for 7 hours worth of work, minus my gas, which was $70, means that I would have come out losing money. Never mind the 300 miles that I put on my car during the day driving for them. That's on my tires, that's on the maintenance, that's on the devaluation of the vehicle. Basically, you're making less than minimum wage, and Lyft is laughing all the way to the bank. They're the ones making the real money. Lyft is laughing at you because you're stupid enough to get in your car every day and burn miles while they make a huge profit and you get breadcrumbs compared to what they're pulling in. I did contact Lyft and I told them about my experience, and as you can imagine, they cared very little for what I had to say, and that's expected because if they were a company that cared about their drivers, they would be paying a workable wage and a competitive wage, and they wouldn't have the crisis that they have right now where there's not enough drivers on the road to satisfy all the demand. And unfortunately, I think that that's going to be the downfall of these driving companies. And I think at some point, somebody's going to come out with a better application for people to drive without being so greedy. There is no reason why Uber or Lyft should be keeping 70% of your revenue. And they say that they only take a 23% commission. I know that that's what they state. They're taking closer to 60 or 70%. I asked most of my passengers how much they paid for their ride. I know how much I got at the end of my ride. I know how much I netted at the end of that ride, and I know the profit that Lyft is taking in between. When there is a price surge, the driver doesn't get any of that price surge. That price surge goes to Lyft and it goes to Uber directly in their pockets. So, I know there are going to be a lot of you that comment and post comments that you make really good money doing Lyft and you make really good money doing Uber. And that's good for you. And you are the one-off case that does that. And you have it down to a science where it works for your lifestyle. And I understand that I'm coming from a place where I'm very wealthy in financially, and I can make 20, 30, 40, $50,000 a day doing what I do. And for me to make a few $100s, I won't say is a joke, but I understand the worker's side. I've worked many, many entry-level jobs in my life. I've worked for Walmart. I've worked at bars. I've worked for American Express. You name it, I sort of have done it. And, I love the entrepreneurial spirit of being able to go and work for yourself on your own time. And it's not so much about the money. It's about me really analyzing it and saying, hey, is there money to be made? Should you be doing this? Or is it a complete waste of your time and you're basically out there only to make the big bosses money? Lyft, unfortunately, you are out there to make the big bosses money. Do not kid yourself. Do not waste your time. Do not bother driving for Lyft. Lyft needs to learn a lesson that if they don't take care of their drivers and if they don't stop being so greedy, they have to probably be one of the greediest companies in the United States. If they change their business model and they take care of their drivers, then they will keep drivers on the road. They won't have to keep offering these sporadic bonuses to convince you to drive for one day and then switch off your phone for the next 3 weeks. For me, unfortunately, Lyft is a big no. I am going to be taking a look at other businesses over the next few weeks. I am going to be looking at DoorDash. I'm going to be looking at Airbnb. I'm going to be looking at Turo. I'm going to be looking at possibly working some shifts for Subway. I want to be the undercover boss that really tells you how things are in these companies. I want to see what it's like to work at Walmart. I want to see what you are doing to earn an income, what you could be doing differently, and if you're wasting your time doing what you're currently doing. Please click the like button, follow my channel, and keep watching. I want to transform how you see tomorrow.